All right, I got a really good question from a new pharmacy owner, and they haven't opened their store yet, so they're doing all the prep work. And they wanted to know if they should join a buying group in order to improve cash flow. They've been talking to a lot of other pharmacy owners, they've been reading all the chatter that's been going on in our industry, and they know that cash flow is the number one biggest problem for pharmacy owners right now. So, my answer to them, the short answer is no. Buying groups in general will not help improve your cash flow. In fact, they probably even make it worse. Especially some of the big buying groups. I think they're doing a really terrible job of looking out for pharmacy owners and really helping to protect that cash flow. Pharmacies that close are closing due to a lack of cash flow. Yes, profit is a part of that. Profitability is certainly part of the reason why, but frankly, it's cash flow. They close because they can't pay payroll, they can't make rent, they can't buy more drugs, and it's really cash flow that is strangling pharmacy owners today. And so, why do I say a buying group is not the way to go? Now, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, absolutely. Buying groups were the best places to go. They were going to get you a much better deal on your cost of goods, so your profitability will increase. Sometimes the payment terms were better than going direct with a wholesaler. And so they did help with cash flow. But fast forward to now, 2024, what is the situation with buying groups? One, most of them are a dime a dozen, meaning there's no difference between them. They might have a different contract with a different primary wholesaler, but ultimately the nuts and bolts of it are not really making much of a difference for a pharmacy owner. They don't help with payment terms. In our world, longer payment terms are better. The longer you have to pay your drug bill, the better your cash flow will be. And most buying groups do not negotiate longer payment terms without significant penalties to your overall cost of goods. They don't really negotiate low generic rates. They don't do a lot of things that I think buying groups should really on whole be doing. And so what you do when you join a buying group is you're agreeing to all of their rules and restrictions. You're agreeing to buying 95% of your drugs from them. You're agreeing to let them track your data. You're agreeing to just a lot of things that from that buying group, which restricts you as a pharmacy owner. And right now in our industry, with the way that things are, the thing that you need in your toolbox more than anything else is flexibility. You need to be able to buy drugs where you can get it the cheapest with the best payment terms so that you have cash in the bank to pay your bills and to stay open. And so right now, for the most part, I don't recommend most buying groups because I don't think they're doing those things. There's certainly a lot of things that come with the buying group. There's some camaraderie. They provide some other benefits. And not to say that those other benefits aren't good, but if you're concerned about staying in business, if you're concerned about improving your cash flow, being able to pay your bills, pay your wholesaler, pay your rent, pay your employees, then it might be time to look outside of the traditional buying group, outside of the traditional primary vendor agreements that we all know from the big wholesalers. And my preferred way of buying drugs is direct net pricing from the secondary wholesalers. That's going to get you your generics. It'll get you some brands, some controls. I don't say abandon primary vendors. I still personally have primary vendors in my pharmacies. But you just don't play the game the same way. You don't play the buying group game where you have to purchase everything from them. You allow them to track your data, and then you just kind of hope and pray that they calculate rebates correctly and get rebates back to you. Just go with your primary vendor, whichever one you want to, and just look at the matrix, whatever pricing matrix they give you, and just go all the way to the bottom. Just know that you're going to fall all the way to the bottom, and that's what your brand prices are going to be, and that's what your overall pricing is going to be, because you're not going to be chasing that rebate. Because basically what a rebate is the big old company wholesaler / buying group, they're keeping your money while you're struggling and sleepless at night because you can't pay your payroll. And how do we really know those rebates are calculated properly? I've dove into a lot of analytics and a lot of different things, and Very rarely. It is a miracle if you ever see something that's calculated 100% correctly. So I would rather know the actual price of the drug I'm paying. I would rather be in control of my money. And you'll be amazed if you, once you switch or you don't even start, which is the better way to go if you're starting a new pharmacy. But if you switch from kind of the traditional buying way of pharmacies that we've done for decades, and you kind of switch to this net upfront secondary wholesaler as your primary way of doing business, in 4 to 6 weeks, all of a sudden you have like an extra 6 figures in your bank account. And it's really magical because that's how much money this GPO wholesaler conglomerate is really keeping of your pharmacies. And it's really just a tragedy because a lot of these pharmacies that have closed lately, and it's been an average of one pharmacy a day since 2023. Like, that's a scary statistic. The reason they're closing is because of cash flow. And if they had more control of their cash flow, instead of the wholesaler hanging onto their money, instead of the GPO hanging onto their money, they might not have had to close. So I don't want you to close. I want you to stay in business, which means you should keep your money and you should know the price of the drugs that you are buying and not some pretend rebate that you're never going to be able to second check if you're getting it correctly. So to answer the question, I don't think GPOs are absolutely necessary, not like they used to be. I often say we need to stop running our pharmacies like it's 1999, which in 1999, you joined a GPO and it was going to be better for your pharmacy. Nowadays, it's much more complicated. And even with this advice, it's not the right advice for everybody. Everybody's pharmacy is different. If you do a lot of specialty or do a lot of something else rather than kind of the typical mix of retail, the answer might be different for you. So always take into account your specific use case and just ask a lot of questions and talk to a lot of people. There are a lot of companies out there, and just double check what they're telling you. I think that's the most important thing. So hopefully that answer helps you. And please feel free to submit any questions to drlisafast.com and I will answer your questions too. Bye-bye.